I think this book was written about dementia because it talks about our relationship with other people and how when we forget who we are, we end up in conflict. And the only way to, and this is they refer to as the dream. So the only way to wake up from the dream is to take full responsibility for our part in the relationship. And I feel like the best way to break from the dream, and any best scientists will ask the question with curiosity, which is, what is the role in this that I play? What could be the cause of this? What is my teacher trying to teach me? Because when we're in a fight, we often want to be right. And it talks about this, when we want to be right, we are placing guilt upon the other. And we do this as an ego mechanism because if we can place guilt upon the other one, it makes us feel that we are innocent. And it alleviates our responsibility in the relationship, which it's always 50-50. You can't have a relationship with at least being 50%, even if it feels like you're not wrong. So like you, your brother thinks he is a dream. Share not in his illusion of himself, for your identity depends on his reality. Think rather of him as a mind in which illusions still persist, but as a mind which brother is to you. He is not brother made by what he dreams, nor is his body hero of the dream. It is his reality that is your brother and is yours to him. Your mind and his are joined in brotherhood. So it just talks about never separating yourself from that person. Like when we blame someone for doing something to us, we shackle ourselves and put ourselves in bondage. Just like when we can't forgive someone, in quantum physics, they have proven that we are connected with people through our thoughts, through many, many miles away. And in this book is talking about the tiny gap. I'm about to read this sentence to you, but there is no gap between us. That's why a lot of people, end up divorced in these days. I think we have collective dementia because when we're in relationships with people, we tend to tear the other individual down and to build resentment, to build guilt, and we forget that we are spiritual creatures, and every time we have a thought about someone, that is building towards the relationship or it's tearing it down. So if I'm constantly thinking this person never does enough, they're always doing this, I hate that they do that, blah, 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 I'm creating a spiritual divorce. And so when I show up in person, obviously in person, I can feel that disconnect. I can feel the resentment and all the stuff that's between us. It feels like we're always in conflict because we are in conflict here in the mind first. It says, and yet between your minds there is no gap. To join his dreams is thus to meet him not, because his dreams would separate from you. Therefore release him merely by your claim on brotherhood and not on dreams of fear. Now it says brother because we are all brother and sisters, and we're all like, they say to be in a state of joy is to be like in childlike wonder. And everybody has like a little child inside of them. That's why we get upset and people want to be seen and heard because we revert back to our childhood state a lot of the time when we get emotional and feel like things are going wrong. Usually this state of conflict comes from a very early version of our experience. Let him acknowledge who he is by not supporting his illusions by your faith, for if you do, you will have faith in yours. With faith in yours, he will not be released, and you are kept in bondage to his dreams. And a lot of people tend to have negative thoughts about themselves, like especially in relationships, we think we're not good enough or we're unlovable, and that's what it's saying is don't hold your brother in bondage. Is how can I have better thoughts about this person? How can I see the best? How can I see the miracle? This is a course of miracles. How can I see the best version of this person? And dreams of fear will haunt the little gat, inhabited by illusions which you have supported in each other's minds. Be certain, if you do your part, he will do his, for he will join you where you stand. Call not to him to meet you in the gap between you, or you must believe that it is your reality as well as his. You cannot do his part, but this you do when you become a passive figure in his dreams instead of a dreamer of your own. Identity in dreams is meaningless because the dreamer and the dream are one. Who shares a dream must be the dream he shares, because by sharing is a cause produced. You share confusion and you are confused, for in the gap no stable self exists. And I love this, is that no stable self exists. It's just like the polar bonds in chemistry. I always hear the biochemistry in this book. The polar and the nonpolar bonds. The nonpolar bonds, polar bonds are unequal in their sharing of electrons, I think it is. There's an unequal power take. Someone always has to be right. Someone always has to, be in control. Whereas in the nonpolar bond in chemistry, they share equal stability, equal electron capacity. And so it's just like, I have my things, I know who I am, and you have your things, you know who you are, and we share this space that is mutual instead of codependent. That's what I love about the biochemistry. What is the same seems different, because what is the same appears to be unlike. And that's when we're in conflict, we always think that we have major differences between ourselves, and like beyond the surface we are so much more alike than a lot of the times we care to admit, because a lot of times we're just seeing the flaws in the other individual instead of seeing that we are both children on the inside who just want to be loved and be supported. And beyond that, there's the biochemistry that we all are made of trillions and trillions of cells, just trying to be joyful and peaceful. His dreams are yours because you let them be. But if you took your own way, would he be free of them, and of his own as well? Your dreams are witnesses to his, and his attest the truth of yours. Yet if you see there is no truth in yours, his dreams will go, and he will understand what made the dream. The light is in both of your hands, and he is one because there is no gap that separates his oneness from itself. The gap between your bodies matters not, for what is joined in him is always one. No one is sick if someone else accepts his union with him. His desire to be sick and separated mind cannot remain without a witness or a cause, and both are gone if someone wills to be united with him. Join not your brother's dream, but join with him, and where you join, his son the Father is, who seeks for substitutes when he perceives he has lost nothing. Who would want to have the benefits of sickness when he has received the simple happiness of health? What light has given cannot be a loss, and what is not of him has no effects. What then would you perceive within the gap? The seeds of sickness come from the belief that there is joy in separation, and its giving up would be a sacrifice. But miracles are the result when you do not insist on seeing in the gap what is not there. Your willingness to let go of illusions is all the healer of lights requires. He will place the seeds of healing where the seeds of sickness were, and there will be no loss but only gain. So I love this book because, again, I feel like it's a call to remembering who we are. And it says the cause of pain is separation, not the body, which its only effect. Between your minds, there is no gap. So it's just every thought that we have about people, it's very obvious. Like it's just very obvious. If you think of someone and you have like a negative reaction, or, between the gap, there is some sort of negative thought spaces that are being exchanged. And it's the same thing as like, you walk into the party and there's someone that you really like, and there's like, that person is so sweet, they're joyful, and this person over here is like, I don't really like that person. There's this there's a thought, there's thoughts, there's hormones, right? Thoughts become our hormones. They stimulate that. Like if I get a phone call and somebody tells me something stressful, my body's going to be releasing cortisol, and my heart rate's going to pick up. I'm going to start sweating, because our bodies are so intelligent. So it just says that there is no gap, and the only reason that we get into conflict with people is that we believe that there is, and that we try to place blame. So I hope that was helpful for you in some way. As always, that's why I like this book, because a lot of our health is not just what we're doing from a physical standpoint, it's also spiritual. And I think our health outcome is determined a lot by the relationships that we hold with other people. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with that right now. We struggle to connect with others, especially with social media. And that's part of the reason why I have my comments turned off here, because I am really trying to connect with people, connect with the world around me. And I have my social media, I have my email available if you want to send an email. A lot of the times though, the comment sections is just I don't find it to be a super great way to connect with other people. That's just my opinion. And also I want people to be able to do your research instead of getting lost in the comments of what other people are saying. So go search the nonpolar and the polar bonds, water loving and non-water loving. Go see how the chemistry is really speaking to us. It shows us the way that we connect with others, and it's so beautiful. It blows my mind all the time. But anyway, hope this is helpful for you as always. I wish you the best of luck, and I'll catch you later.